Hey, welcome back, tubers. So we've got some camera problems. That's better. I've got 4 jobs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My maths is wrong. Got a 5 jobs dropped in from a local pawn shop. So we got won't power on, PS4 Slim. Looks like a 500 gig model. Overheating needs a service. Reset update. That seems pretty standard. Won't power on, PS4 Slim, warranty seal is intact on that one. HDMI port looks alright, another power supply no doubt, needs a clean, overheating, got to cover up where it's from. So if you ever want some of this stuff done, I do wholesale repairs for like cash converters and a bunch of others. Not particularly cash converters, only do one store at the moment, but I do a lot of these wholesale repairs on this sort of stuff for 55 bucks each. It's a whole lot better than selling them and them coming back under warranty. So that doesn't include major components. If it's any a major, like a minor component, a laser or something like that, I can do that. But if it's a hard drive and it costs me a lot of money, it costs a bit more, but yeah. And this one's not reading disk, installation stops and says the disk is dirty. So no doubt that will be a DVD drive or a Blu-ray drive. So we'll get after that. Now I have to say, before I go too much further, this video is sponsored, not really. They sent me a new toy. I'm going to have a look at it. By this product. Anon Star. I probably should get that right considering they sent me a little microscope. I thought it was a toy. But I can do that and I can see everything in my poor eyes, and then I can capture it on the computer or I can put it on the television screen. And look at that. A little bit impressed. More details on that later as I get to use it more. But let's get into these repairs and see what we can find and see what it takes to fix them. We're about 3 hours into this repair process and I saved you a shit ton of time-lapse videos by not hitting record. So I've already completed one console, I've started a second, I've done a third in the meantime. I actually did a Series X HDMI port replacement, and it wasn't the HDMI port, it was actually the retimer IC. And I think I found the perfect way to use that Anon Star digital microscope. It's going to take a little bit of work, but we'll show you that later. Right, yeah, what are we doing? This is the second job. So we've got the Xbox One X, and the problem was we were having a error when we were actually doing it, and I'll put it up here somewhere. When we were loading up a game, it was stopping 3/4 of the way through. I've put 2 new lasers in it. I've replaced the entire drive itself, and you do that by actually just changing the boards over. That is not a board, that's a Nintendo Switch that I also fixed in the meantime. Now what we're going to do, we've got the hard drive out. I have tried a different hard drive, but this is a used hard drive. Now we're going to try put a 2 terabyte one in there because that's the only new one I have laying around. We'll throw that in there, load it up and test that again. We'll throw this on to another bench because this is going to take, you know, it takes about half an hour to install one game. Now I was telling you before, when you weren't listening to me or the camera wasn't recording, that I do lots of these wholesale repair jobs, and I've got customers that drop in 30, 40, 50 consoles at a time, and that's what that $50 sort of covers, that $55. That is up to, got another customer. Put this one back in again, we'll test it up, throw it on a different desk, and then we can go to the next one. So we'll do a clean out on the next one. Now I've already done a clean out and you guys missed it, so all of my wonderful commentary will have to be repeated. Okay, so we're set up on the other bench, just updating. So it's a new hard drive, so I'll have to reinstall the software, and this is the to-do pile is still growing, or not exactly reducing. We're not even going to look at this side. Anyway, back to this one. What have we got next? Actually, we're over here. Next, that one's been done. That one won't power on. Let's take a look at that one. Alright, the Slim's next on the chopping block. Turn it on, we've got it all plugged in. Okay, so she turned on once. I wasn't capturing it, but it did turn on once. Now it turns on. We get a blue light and turns off again. So that sounds to me like power supply. Let's have a quick look. Warranty seal is intact on this one. We need a screwdriver, a small Phillips, and the street sweep is going past. We've got 5 small Phillips on there. Now there's 2 different types. There's 4 long and the shorter one goes on here. Pop that off, bend that back. We need a T8 security Torx for the 2 longer bolts here. And in all of Sony's wisdom, we actually have to turn this over and take out 1 or 2 little screws from the other side, which means breaking the warranty seal. Take the power supply out. That does not come out, so we've got to come around here, break the warranty seal, another T8, the little black one there, roll it out, and then you pop the cover off for the battery, slide it off, and then you pop the cover off for the battery, and then you, not the battery, that has more issues than I care to admit to, but it's not broken. We are talking about the hard drive, not the battery. Rightio, pop that off, slide that back. Not too many cockroaches and not very much dust, which is a good thing. It is very common to get these ones from cash converters type places, and they'd be inundated with roaches. But I'll take the money either way. Right. I think it's this one, and I think it's this one. And I am guessing, and I will use editing to make myself look better if I got it wrong. As it turns out, I didn't get it wrong. Now you flip it backwards that way and pull the power off. Now I have a little tool here. Now this is the tool. I've got a small fan. I've butchered up a motherboard and made a plug for that. And then I've got this little device here. So basically this is the 5-volt input. So I believe this is how it, well, it is how it turns it on. So what you do is you get 2 of those pins, you short circuit them, and then this will show 5 volts. And if the fan comes on and we've got 5 volts here, there's a chance that it's not the power supply. There's also the chance it still is, because this doesn't test it under load. I still got to work on that. So basically to test this, all I've got to do is plug that in. And if the fan comes on, which it does, and we've got 5 volts, which we do, can't quite see it, but I assure you there is 5 volts there. That's showing that the actual power supply works. Now, it did turn on the first time and stayed on for about a minute, so I'll leave this sitting on, and then it turned off again and then wouldn't turn back on. So I can turn this off, and I can do that by, if I show you the fan, I'm pretty sure you can see that fan spinning. If I just unplug this, the fan will actually turn off. So that actually replicates turning the console on and off, and it's a very quick and cost-effective way of me testing consoles, well, testing power supplies. And I've actually made this, it's got 3 different ports on it, so I can put it across most older PlayStation consoles. So that's still on. I'm still going to try it with a new power supply if I've got one. That's going to be the quickest way to sort of move past this job. So let's grab one and test it out. The box of power supplies. Now there is a couple of different ones of these. I think there's a 5-pin and a 4-pin and one's inverted. So I am just hoping that is a 4-pin. And we've got a 4-pin there. So let's just try that over here, see if it plugs in. And we don't, that's the inverted one. If you ever want to know, it's the 4-pin inverted, so it's actually got a white cable that actually fits into this one. The one I've got, this one is a black cable, and the difference is up. That's up on that one. and that's up on that one. I don't know if you can see it, but that's got a black cable, this has got a white cable, so it's a 4-pin and it's inverted. So that's frustrating. Thank you very much, Sony, for putting different ones in every console. Right, we'll move to the next job. Couldn't help myself, I put the power supply back in. I really want this sucker to go. So we turn it on. She turns on and then straight off again. Just a little beep. Nothing else happens. Hit the eject button. I'm more inclined to think it's the motherboard, but I don't want to go any further troubleshooting it until I've tested that power supply, just in case I'm chasing up the wrong tree. Okay, next console. And just noticed this one had finished loading and is now installing Assassin's Creed. Fingers crossed we've got this one leaked. Somehow I don't think so. I think this is console number 4. Won't power on, refunded. So again, I've got the power plugged in. I need a better camera position. Turn it on. I haven't turned this one on yet. Something doesn't feel right with that power button, but she certainly doesn't turn on. And she's got cockroaches. Giddy up. This will be another fun one. Probably should put gloves on, but I probably won't die. Okay, now this is a different power supply. It's only got 2 screws here rather than 4. So we might have the power supply for this one. What we don't have is a gas mask for Pete smelling all the cockroach shit inside this console. And they're little tiny baby alive cockroaches, which is always fun. So, look, it's not ideal, but I'd rather not have them running around my workshop. And we can clean all that crap off later. So we'll pop this hard drive out. Again, this one was warranty sealed. Hey, look at that. Bunch of German cockroaches. You got to get rid of these ones because they breed. Rightio, this one will be fun. What do you reckon the cockroaches killed this one? I really try hard not to judge when people get cockroaches and stuff in there, because it's all money to me, it's all work. And although it's a little bit of extra work, especially when there's this many, it won't kill me. Pop that power supply out. Let's have a look. We'll have to put a note on this one to say, live cockroaches, you should probably ring your customer and get your money back, because they obviously refunded it. Okay, so this one's got the white cable, which means those power supplies will work. But this one will require a new power supply and a full clean. I have to pull it all apart and do that, but we'll do that off camera once we confirm that it actually works. I think we're up to about 10 cockroaches. Feels like a lot more. Put that together. Now, I've had 2 minds whether I should turn this on, whether it's wet with spray, but I haven't had a problem before. There's another one. As long as you don't actually drown the consoles, you'll get it to be able to turn it on and test it. Yeah, good news. Got the old power supply out, new one in there. The cockroaches are still residing within that unit. And we are in. So that one's fixed. Let's get to the next one. I will clean this one out off camera and get rid of all that cockroach goodness. And this one, and we've got the 1X. And it's doing the same thing. Installation stopped. It did actually get through the actual installing of the disc. And it says stopped, and I don't know why. So we'll go resume all again. Let's see what happens. Kind of disappointing. I was hoping a new hard drive would have fixed that. you doing? I saw you blinking a few times there. Anyway, we'll come back to that after we do the next one. And the next one is clean out, reset and update. Well, that's disappointing. That stopped again, so that is still not working. I might try another disc. I might try Call of Duty Black Ops and see what happens there. Okay, so that one started installing. Let's see if that one works. So all the cockroach arms and legs have been swept onto the floor, where we'll deal with them later. And the last job of this lot is PS4 500 gig overheating needs a service, reset and update. So let me show you what I do when I clean a console. Okay, here's hoping this console is not a repeat of the Slim, the Cockroach Motel. So basically, pop the side cover off. That is a T8. Buzz those two out. So we're not even going to look, not even going to turn this one on. Usually, again, I do, but it's overheating and I trust the guy that it's coming from. So pull these ones out all along the side here. We've got 4 along this side. We've already done the 2 for the top case. Well, now we've done the 2. Pop the hard drive out. Small Phillips head screwdriver. Pop that out, get that out of the way. Around the back, pop the warranty seals off. So this should be a 4 screw, I think. Yep, it's a 4 screw. Pop out those 4. Pretend that you can see me pulling out screws. That'd be much appreciated at this point. And look, if you made it this far, I will share something very honest with you. These videos, oh, I thought for a second there we had a roach motel. It's not. It's just a dust bunny motel. So, a little bit dirty. Nothing terrible. We do have what seems like something's growing on that. But, yeah. We'll sort this out. YouTube really doesn't like me doing repair videos, so if you could be so kind, even if you don't like it, smash the like or the hate, or don't smash the hate. And just drop a comment. Oh, you know, that's gross, or I hate cockroaches, you know, whatever, I don't care. Just help a brother out. I'll share a picture below here somewhere. Okay, so let's pull this apart. So this one is a PS4, so we've got a couple of security torques here. We've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 2 more Phillips. We'll use a bigger screwdriver so I don't strip out my good little one. 2 Phillips with the little grounding tabs. That should pop off. There's no screws at the back of this one. I've also done the power. When you do the power, I use a flat spudgy tool, or whatever you call it, and I actually hold it down, sort of wiggle it up. There's nothing worse than doing this and being in a hurry, ripping it off the board, then end up having to fix the traces and stuff and everything that's been ripped off the board. So these clips here, you push them down, you pull them out. I know all this stuff's been covered before, but maybe you might be watching Pete because you feel sympathetic for him and you might not have seen this stuff before on the old YouTubes. Rip that one out, wind that around. That is your wireless antenna. We will need to take that out, so we may as well take that out now. We'll be going through it. This has got 4 screws, 1 in each corner, 1 underneath the antenna, and then the other one is underneath this little power cable for the CD-ROM drive. So I'll pop that one out. That will lift out once I do the last screw at the front here, a little Phillips head, and it is only very short, and that monstrosity of a mess can go over there. Rightio. So at this point we turn it over, we pop this cover off here. Popping this cover off, I lift it here, a little bit of pressure on that side and that pops off. We got 2 Phillips head that hold the CPU clamp down, or the APU, or whatever you call it. If I was using a drill, this would make for much better television. There we go. I might do this one in real time, so you sort of get to see. Now again, if this was a retail client, I charge $55 to do this particular job for a retail client, or it's the same price for a wholesale client, as it turns out. because that's their minimum charge. I keep going back to the wholesale clients, but because I really want to pick up some more of these cash advance places and stuff like that. I have quite a few that sort of come and go, but I'd love to have 10 or 20 more to sort of raise the console levels up to, you know, 50 to 100 a week, or sort of sometimes they are at 50 a week. So that is a Generation 1 console. I don't know the actual model number, but I can tell because the HDMI encoder I see is underneath that shield. And she looks pretty grotty, but certainly not terrible. And I hear my son walking out to me, I believe. It's either that. Yeah, he's walking out. He wants to be on camera again, I bet. He's poking his head around the corner. What do you want? You want to say hello to YouTube today or not? No thanks. Okay, well, hot? Yeah. That's
Hello.
That's likely a problem. YouTube said hello back. Oh. Mister, you got no shirt on, so you're not coming on camera. Alright, pop the fan out. And I really want to put this in the I really want to put this in the dishwasher to see how it go, but I just know I'd get killed. So that comes out. And that needs a clean. So these guys come back in a minute once I've run a brush over all of this. Now if you really want a pro tip and you want to get into doing this, a car detailing brush. I tell you what, I've never used a better brush to clean a console. I'll show you what I used to use. Don't leave me. I told you this is real time. And that Xbox is still installing. I just use an old paintbrush. And you could do it, and look, it worked really, really well. But the brushes on this, the bristles, are soft. They're a paintbrush, right? Whereas these ones, they're hard. But they've also got enough give to them so you're not going to scratch any of the plastics or anything like that. And it sort of rips it off really, really quickly and fairly effectively. So you come back in a minute, I'll have all this done. And this won't be in real time because I have to go outside. Now I know I said I was going to fast forward this and do this outside, but I got stuff to say, so it sort of implies that you got to listen. My goal doing this is not to produce a brand new console. It is to clear off anything that causes it to overheat, fix anything that needs fixing, and then reassemble and get the hell out of it as quick as I possibly can. I am a business, this is what I do, so I can't afford to just, you know, there's some out there that put stuff in dishwashers and clean it so it's so perfectly clean that it looks brand new. Look, that I don't knock that approach. If you have enough time to do that, or if you want to do that for your customers, I applaud your effort. But me, nah, you send it and see. Well, you don't even see because it works when you leave. Even the CPU, that's as much as it gets for cleaning off the thermal material. You just knock off all the loose stuff, get the what do you call it, the IHS clean, the dye. And I'm actually putting dust all over everything I've already done, so I'm going to have to go through and do that again. I must admit, the absolute worst part about doing this in my workshop with my two classic cars behind me is the fact that I have two classic cars behind me. I have to clean them weekly, but I enjoy driving the hell out of both of them, and there will be more videos on the green one soon. I'm going to actually, I don't know if you can see, but there's a brand new motor sitting behind me. I'm going to try and do a really cool video in 10 minutes about rebuilding a motor. I'll be back. I was only outside for about a minute. This whole job, a whole cleanup, a whole service, I would say shouldn't take longer than 30 minutes. It may take a little bit longer considering I'm moving a camera around or trying to make sure the audio is working or something, but it really shouldn't take longer than 30 minutes to knock out. So just be careful when I'm moving this stuff around, just so I'm not beating the hell out of it. So fan goes back in, there's two screws that go in that, and this little thing that I bent taking it out, only ever so slightly, you'll never notice. So throw those two screws back in. And like I said, I'm not polishing all this metal, I'm just getting all the loose dust off of it, cleaning as best I can, as fast as I can. Throw this one back over the top. We might just dust again as we go. Oh, that one's actually nice and clean now, so you can actually see my ugly mug through that now. Well, you can't really, but you probably see my receding hairline through that. That back on. Now, that's been cleaned. If this was a newer console, these pads are a little bit ripped up, but I didn't rip the other side up, so they are going back on the way they are. If I had spare pads laying around, I'd update those, but I don't, unfortunately. And the fact of the matter is, the 100% of what that was there will still be there, it's just ripped in two. So that shouldn't affect the way it operates. Now, a bit of thermal paste, ooze it down there. A good pea size. I don't go crazy because this is about earning money. Good to go. Throw that in, lock that down, push it in far enough. HDMI port's lined up. The HDMI port is clearly not lining up. There we go. Fan, always remember the fan. You don't want your customer to drive 120 k's down the motorway only to get home and realise his fan doesn't work and you have to drive all the way back for Pete to connect it. I hate to admit it, but that's happened. I compensated him for his time, I assure you. Right, so this goes back on, and it goes back on like this. There is no more screws underneath there. We'll give that another brush down. Picked up the wrong brush, but that's fine. We've got the clamp that sits on there. We need a Phillips head. That is not the right one, and that is not the right tool for the job, but it'll get it started. Throw those two back in. There we go, we've got a good screwdriver. Nice electrician left me this and he didn't drive back to pick it up when I rang him, told him. So thank you very much, Mr. Electrician. Nice and tight without being crazy, and always make sure that little indented button is facing down. You don't want to flick this around, it won't have any tension on it. So that's in. Now we go to the hard drive, throw that back in. We don't actually have to do this yet, but for some reason I just did, so we're rolling with that. Grab the T8 security Torx and start throwing these bolts back in again. Or these, what are they called? Screws. Pete's losing his shit. Don't judge me. I'm sitting here thinking, oh, have I forgotten something? Am I going to make a fool of myself? Is somebody going to sit out there on the internet and tell me I'm doing a shit job? Yeah, probably, but it hasn't happened yet for a console repair. But then again, Pete doesn't share them because... Rightio, let's keep going. Stop talking shit, Pete. Let's roll down the road. Now, the only two you don't put back in is this one here and this one here. And they are responsible for holding that top cover on. So throw that back in there. 3 more along the front. Pop this in, and then we will jump to the other side. Actually, we'll start doing that CD-ROM. We'll pull it apart and see how bad it is. So that's back on again. This one just needs a bit of a quick sweep. Making sure with this particular model that the little metal piece is above the plastic. Get lots of customers that have pulled it apart. Naturally, this one had the warranty stickers on it, so it won't be that. They've pulled it apart, they've ripped it up, and the plastic has gone underneath the eject button. And doesn't that piss people off when it doesn't work? Oh, I didn't touch it. Yes, you did. Stop lying. Right, so that looks considerable better. Considerably even better. Let's have a look at the CD-ROM drive. That looks like shit. Let's do that outside. There we are. A big dust snake is gone. It was actually holding in the wireless antenna. Basically, I don't pull these all the way down if I don't have to, because this is one thing that can often cause more work than it saves you when you pull it apart. So there's a couple of screws on the back of this. Some of them have 2, some have 3. This particular version has 3, and they've got this nice big flat head on them. Open it up, and this way we can see the rollers and we can see any dust inside, and that is not terrible. But what we can do is, while we're in this far, we will clean those rollers down. Now, if there was a problem with the rollers, or that was what it was in for me to fix, I would actually use some hot water and it's like some dish soap, some Dawn dish soap or something on these, as well as some alcohol. And what that does is it puts a bit of a tacky surface back on them, but it's not in for that. I know that sounds a bit bad, but I still do what I can. But if it was in for an eject or inject fault, I would be all over it. And that just broke anyway, and that actually come up quite dirty, so I might go and clean those rollers. The rollers come out just like that. While they're out, I might as well do this whole job. We grab a little pick or a pair of tweezers, and this is where my little microscope would really come in handy if I had it set up over here. Now, these rollers here, they're not actually too bad once I changed the glasses. These rollers here, you see them on the side? If you ever get a disc that you put in and it sort of doesn't roll nice and easily in and out, it can be one of a few things. If it's slow injecting, it can be these rollers are dirty, and just the dust and grime on them means it's slipping on the disc, not grabbing it. But if it's slow and clunky, it's often dust in between the valleys of these cogs. So what I do is get a nice pair of tweezers and then sit there and go through, because you can't really get in there, and just scrape it all out. And as I'm going along, I've got a little paintbrush, a little tiny stiff bristle paintbrush, and I can get in there and I can clean out all of those cogs and gears. It really does a fantastic job of making the disc drive nice and smooth again. It gives it a new feel. So we'll do that now. Okay, back again. Now, when you do these, a little tip that I've noticed, ignore my dirty hands, you don't touch the actual rollers as much as you can. In fact, I usually don't just put them on the bench. Alright, so we're about 20 minutes into this, so we've got to get going. Okay, these ones have come back nice and clean. I try not to touch them as much as possible when I'm putting them back in again. Sometimes that's exceedingly difficult, but the cleaner that they go in, the better they are. So spin that around a bit and it just clicks into that little slot, and then we got a little cammed thing, bit of plastic that goes in between, and this is the rough bit where you don't and you almost got to touch it, but I still try not to as much as possible. It goes in there. Let's see if we can do 2 pair of tweezers. I don't get insane with not touching it, but I still try not to. There we go, that goes in there. And then you just got to push that one down. Done. Right, we'll put this one back together again. We're done. Goes back in one corner first, slips in the little cam barrier. 3 flat screws back in. I call them flat screws because they've got a coarse thread and a flat head on them. Of course, I'm looking at it, not you. There we go. Giddy up. That goes back in there. Slides it down. We've got 5 screws that hold that in, so we put that one in first. Might even clean that one better. So the larger screws go in there. 1, 2, 3, 4 around the outside, and the little short one with the coarse thread goes up the front there. Actually, before I put the back of that in, where's that little cable gone? We're going to put this one in. That one goes in there, and all I'm doing is threading this the proper way through the routing, so it sits in there nicely. Thank you very much, truck. There we go. It is a lot easier when you do that before you put this in. Little cable, clean the contact points off on that a little bit. It is not going to hurt. Slide that back in again. Now, technically speaking, you don't have to push the clip down to push it back in. Just push it in nice and square. That one goes underneath there. And the power button goes back onto here. If you ever want to test one of these consoles, the best way to test it is with Fortnite. If you're doing it like I do, Fortnite just absolutely destroys the temperature in a console. So it's a great way, if they've got Fortnite installed on the console, just load up Fortnite and leave it there for 10 minutes. Gran Turismo is another good one, but I don't play many more games. In fact, I don't play games at all very much. When you're dusting this down, make sure you don't run your brush over the eject button there. So actually the other one was a power on button. I said it was the eject button before, I believe. Dust coating on absolutely everything in my entire workshop. Put a little screw back in at the beginning there. And the beginning at the front. Jesus, I'm losing my shit. It's nice and bloody warm in here. Power supply. Blow that off, clip that back in again. Put that cable in. The 2 long screws, it doesn't matter which side these particular ones go in. Some do have short and long. The 3 security torques around the outside. And I think I've lost a screw. Oh no, I'm going to have to chase up another screw, or I've put one in the wrong place on the other side. So that's all done there. That spins, that's done, that's in. Pop that cover on. Spin it over. I got 1, 2. Maybe that's from another console. I've got one extra. I will have to pop that off and have another look underneath to see if I forgot one, or that's left over from one of the other consoles that I've been working on here through today. I don't think it is. One, two. No, there's no screws missing there. Perhaps I forgot one on the CD-ROM drive. Put those 2 back in. Can go on. I'll pop that back off again. 1, 2, 3. We forgot one there. There we go. Don't leave a soldier behind. Pop back in. Now we can do an update and we're done. And you just fell. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn this on and have a look. We'll go back to that Xbox and see if that's actually working or not, or whether I have to finish this video without fixing all of them. In fact, this will be 2 I didn't fix, but that's fine. Come on. Trying to do this quickly. This particular segment of video I've been recording for half an hour, 29 minutes and 40 seconds if you really want to know how long this takes, including phone calls and customers walking in. So that one is done. I can reload the software I keep on a USB stick here. If you're ever doing this, having a little extension cable or a little USB stick will help you, because you can put it in there and it actually fits. HDMI cable goes here, and then if you ever want to do this quickly, sometimes what I do is, and I'm not doing this to this job, you take the hard drive out, and when you're cleaning it, you have the hard drive on another computer that I have set up there, and you can actually, that actually turns on, which is great. You can actually test the hard drive and wipe it if you're going to wipe it, because now I'm going to have to go in the software and dick around or put it in a safe mode to actually get the software to reload. So it sort of removes a step from the whole process. Thank you very much, garbage truck. Your timing is impeccable. Rightio, turn the TV on. I can feel the fan spinning. That's a win. Eject button works. TV is still not on. There we go. We got no signal. Excellent. No signal. Because I plugged the wrong one in. That's what you get for trying to clean up. It does turn on there. I can feel the fan blowing nice cool air, so we've had the desired effect with that. And we've also had a win over here. Assassin's Creed is working now, so I'm not sure what the go is. Maybe that disc is faulty, but that is certainly working. So I think, again, I don't play video games, so I don't even know how to do this. Add new, who are you? I have no idea. Anyway, that appears to be working. Thank you very much for tuning in. We got at least a few of these. I'll see you on the next one.